Are you supposed to water bathe your concrete creations such as candle jars, planter pots, or other concrete works of art? The answer to that question is yes and no. Come on, Jay, what the Don't worry, I'll explain what I mean in just a sec, but stick around until the end to see if I water bathe my concrete jars or not. Let's go. Hi, my name is Jay Catalano. To answer the highly confusing and hotly debated topic of water bathing your concrete creations, one must understand the nature of cement. Now, as a clarification, this is cement and this is concrete. Cement is just an ingredient of concrete. So cement in the construction industry can be generally categorized into two forms: hydraulic cement and non-hydraulic cement. And for the most part, as concrete creators, people who make jars, pots, and concrete art, we use a hydraulic cement. And if you live in the United States like I do and make any of the creations I just listed, you most likely use Cementol. Now, how do you know if you are using a hydraulic cement? Hydraulic in this context is relating to water in motion. So if you use water to cause a chemical reaction in your cement mix, then you use a hydraulic cement. Okay, Jay, thanks for the chemistry lesson, but what the heck is water bathing your concrete? Water bathing your concrete creation immediately after demolding is the act of submerging your concrete creation in a bucket or tub of water for an extended period of time, such as 24 hours, to slow down the drying process and allow the concrete to continue to harden. And in case you didn't know, concrete hardens due to hydration and not because it dries. But Jay, that's all good stuff, but just tell me, do I have to water bathe my concrete creations or what? Don't worry, we're getting there. Some concrete mix packages state that you need to keep your project hydrated for a certain amount of time. For example, on the Cementol package, it specifically says, water cure all rapid set Cementol installations by keeping exposed surfaces wet for a minimum of 1 hour. However, my concrete candle jars aren't really exposed as they are in a silicone mold for at least 3 hours. So I decided to give Cementol a call and dig in a little deeper. I spoke to a gentleman named Chris Adams, who is the national sales manager over at Cementol, and he said if I do not see any forms of cracking, especially micro cracking in my concrete creations, then it isn't necessary to water bathe them. However, if any form of cracking occurs, water bathing is a must. All right, cool. So let's be honest though, you might not be using Cementol. What about other forms of cement or concrete mixes? Well, I spoke to Donata over at Quikrete, and Donata said water bathing is important, but not necessary. So then I called Sakrete and spoke with Bill, and he said it would make more sense to water bathe concrete in the summer months and not so much in the winter months. Why? Because the hot weather speeds up the drying process, and our objective to cure our concrete is to slow the drying process down so we don't get any cracks. Now, naturally, there are other forms of cement or concrete mixes, and one could assume that if we researched more, we would hear a similar response. That's what I surmise. But basically, Cementol, Sakrete, and Quikrete said the same thing. Yes and no. Okay, I get it. I know it's a bit frustrating, but before we answer the question of do you need to water bathe your concrete creation, we must understand a couple of more things. There are many reasons that concrete cracks, and there are two main culprits of cracking: the amount of water in your mix and the temperature that you are letting your concrete dry. For example, if you live in a very hot or dry area, you might find that you are forced to have to water bathe your concrete creations due to the circumstance. But regardless of all of that, water bathing isn't a bad thing at all. It might be a little time consuming, but it isn't bad. In fact, it's quite the opposite. In doing my research, I came across a study by K.H. McGee, who was a highway research engineer at the time. The study was sponsored by the ASTM, formerly known as the American Society for Testing and Materials, and it states that water bathing concrete, and by the way, they use Portland cement, under certain circumstances could potentially speed up the curing process. Now, there are many concrete artists who don't water bathe their concrete, and they are quite successful. On the contrary, there are many concrete artists who do water bathe their concrete, and they too are successful. And if you want a middle of the road approach to water bathing, you could cover your concrete with a plastic to slow down the drying process, or you could spray them with water for a few hours after demolding. Why do you have to keep going on and on? Just answer the question, Jay. Do I have to water bathe my concrete or not? Okay, I know. I held you off long enough. And the answer to your question, do you have to water bathe your concrete or not, is yes. Or no with a caveat. Now I know you were looking for just one answer, but this is a situation that isn't a one-size-fits-all scenario. I don't know where you live and what products you are using, so don't get mad at me. Let me quickly explain the reason for the answer. My reason for saying yes, aside from all the research I talked about before, I realize that as a YouTuber with a steady and growing following, I have a responsibility to you, the viewer. And if I were to tell you no, you shouldn't or don't need to water bathe your concrete creations and something goes wrong, costing you time and money, which ultimately might slow down your rate of success, that would be, in my opinion, very irresponsible. So yes, you should start out water bathing your concrete creations. However, and this is the no with a caveat, if you decide to thoroughly test your concrete creations without water bathing them, because they do need to be tested, and through your research you find that you were just as successful with your work of art and your concrete creations continue to maintain its strength and integrity in what they were intended for, then by all means skip the water bathing process. And now, in case you were wondering, do I water bathe my concrete creations? The answer to that question is no, I do not, but I continue to thoroughly test my work to make sure that I am still successful without doing so. And so far, no cracking has ever occurred. However, if I ever see any cracking in my concrete, you can find me and my concrete work of art enjoying a nice water bath together. And take a look at these videos that are popping up now. They're going to help you on your concrete jar and candle making journey. Until next time, thanks for watching. Ciao.